take one.
Why not? It's the least we can do. You're back from vacation, huh?
What's up? Yeah.
Saw Mo last night. He said you were. Yeah, he was.
Where's he at?
He was doing the women's game, and
Yes,
he's
he was.
Mr. SWAC TV. I didn't realize that.
He's Mr. Slack TV,
Yeah.
Mr. Bulldog All Access. Oh, yeah.
It is the SWAC game of the week, doesn't he? Or
Sometimes. Yeah, just rotates a little bit.
yeah.
Travels more for football. For basketball, he's
Oh, got one more.
I love how you set seats up and then we got staff risers sitting in the back.
Yeah. Debbie said, "Do I need to sit there?" So it looks like somebody's sitting there.
Clean shaved and everything. The one that was us. That's all that was. That's a good one. Big body.
He set up. He had his headphones.
Test, test. Can you hear me, Coach? Test, test.
Can you hear me?
That's why. Test, test, one, two. Test, test. That's good. Test, 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 one, two. Test, test, test.
Is everyone pretty close to ready? All right. You guys ready?
Yeah. All right, my man.
Very good. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our 2025 year-end football media availability. We want to thank you all for being here today, and I want to take a moment to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules, not just today, but throughout the year to cover our football program and our other UNA athletic programs. You guys do great work, and we really appreciate all of you. I want to introduce Dr. Josh Looney, our athletic director, Coach Brent Dearman, our head football coach, who will enter his fourth season in 2026. They'll have opening remarks here from the table. Then after that, we'll begin a Q&A session. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Feel free to ask anything you'd like. And while you have the floor, feel free to ask 2 or 3 questions at a time. We do have some absent media that are not here today that have submitted questions, and Benjamin Ray will be the one to ask those at the proper time. Once we conclude the Q&A session, that'll end our media availability with Dr. Looney and Coach Dearman. However, we invite you to stick around as we will have introduction of our new offensive coordinator, who is here today, and he'll be available for one-on-ones. I'll let Coach Dearman be the one to introduce him. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Dr. Looney.
Great. Appreciate Mike, and appreciate everybody coming out, as we turn the page to 2026, a really big year for our football program, of course, but our athletic department as a whole. But before we get into 2026, really wanted to address a few things from 25. And one, thank you, each of you, whether it's print, it's digital, it's TV, for your coverage of us. I know you guys are pulled in a ton of different directions with high school sports and everything else you're assigned, and the consistent coverage of UNA football and UNA athletics as a whole. It's appreciative, and just appreciate everything you do for us. As we look at 25, I'd also be remiss as a kind of an artery of our football program or ancillary part, the marching pride. I mean, Dr. Lloyd Jones and Tracy Wiggins, unbelievable. Are you kidding me? We got to see them all year work toward a big-time performance on Thanksgiving Day. And they had the New York-themed performance through all our football season. We saw that progress. And then they had their opportunity on the biggest stage to have their biggest performance, and brought a ton of pride to this institution, brought a ton of pride to the community, the university, threw some Mustang Sally in there. So I wanted to make sure we gave a shout out to Dr. Wiggins and Dr. Jones, because they're a piece of our football program and game day, and they delivered on an incredible stage for us. And then, our staff as well. We had a lot of logistical challenges this year with Brawley Stadium, ones that we were going through from start to finish, and it was a really important year to send out Brawley the right way, bringing back alumni from decades, from the first team in 49 all the way to those that graduated in 2024. And for Megan Dye and Ryan Adams and Ben Bond and really everybody on our staff to deliver a first-class experience for those alumni that were coming back, that a meaningful piece for them with some of the challenges we had there. I think it was the best year we had yet, and our alumni had great support. So I appreciate our staff for all of that. And we finished this year, as we looked, second in the UAC and in attendance at just under 8,500 fans per game. I think we have great support and great loyalty from our fan base, and we're excited as we look in 26 to deliver them a game day experience and stadium opportunity and football product that they deserve. And we launched a website shortly after our double overtime loss to Southern Utah to close out Brawley Stadium, UNABankIndependentStadium.com, and it had information on new donor structure, priority points, had the seating bowl, seating amenities, parking amenities, and the outreach we've seen and demand for next year has been absolutely incredible. So I want to touch on a few things here with that community response for what you can expect at Bank Independent Stadium. So 13 suites, all were sold out within weeks of our groundbreaking. That was back in 2024. We had to find ways for more premium opportunities, so we contracted 5 additional concourse box suites. We have 1 left as of today, and we're not even in the year that goes. Right? Other things for our fans, massive interest already in the club level. We can't wait. Some of you have toured to show you. It's been one of the largest club levels in FCS football, one that has an indoor-outdoor space. I'm not sure there's another that's not in professional sports that rivals it with an open-air experience, and just an awesome opportunity to deliver that for our fans. A monster video board that is the same size that South Alabama has at a stadium that's more than 2 times the size of Bank Independent Stadium. Premier sound system, something that we've been wanting for a few years to generate the game day atmosphere, and something for everybody. $100 season tickets. We announced that in the end of November. All chairback seating throughout for season ticket holders. We do have some bleachers for students and our band, but that's all purple, all chairback seating. A first class experience. The 360-degree concourse has 3 different concessions and then over 40 different points of sale for local vendors as we launch into that. End zone building for football, a player's tunnel, premium food and beverage, including we'll launch beer sales throughout the stadium and the concourse as we move into our on-campus home. On-campus tailgating, which we've got a work group that's working on that along with our student leaders and Greeks. And so I say all that because we've had great loyalty, and this community has waited a long time for its own stadium. And now we have an opportunity to deliver that. And I'm excited to announce for the first time as a Division I member, we'll have more than 5 home football games. And if you know how FCS football works in scheduling, that is a direct reflection of revenue generation. It's not you just do home and homes and people come from more than 5. You have to find opponents and compensate opponents to come for those extra home games. And so I'm excited that we'll have 6 home games for the first time as a Division I program, and we'll open up Bank Independence September 19th against Alcorn State. So our expectations are to deliver a best-in-class experience around off the field for our football program, and then on the field, that's the expectation too, is to deliver a winning product, and something we're working toward. Shortly after our double overtime loss against Southern Utah, I put out a statement of support for Coach Dearman and for his leadership and the one to lead us into this important era. I'm still and remain a big believer in his vision. When we hired him in December of 2022, I knew it would be a multiple-year job to fix our program on and off the field. And we've had some great things happen off the field, and Coach Dearman and his staff have done everything and over-delivered on everything we've asked off the field, right? And now it's time we know we need to win some games on the field as well, and it's a big piece. So President Kitts and I and our board still have great belief in Brent, and I'm excited to be in the foxhole with him, alongside him as we enter a big year, and deliver off the field and continue off the field, but off the field for our fans, and then, of course, take those off-field victories and deliver them into victories at Bank Independence Stadium.
As we've been able to sit back and as we conclude the 2025 season, first off, I want to thank our staff that's here today, football staff and all athletic staff for the tireless work that they do. I want to thank our players for what all that they do for this program as well. I want to thank our great fans in this community for the support. Dr. Looney brought up that we're second in our league in attendance, and there's a reason for that, because this community and the fan base believe in great football, and I want to thank them for sticking with us through tough times. This season wasn't what we hoped for in terms of wins and losses, and there's no hiding, there's no running away from that. We clearly understand that we fell short of the standard that we have, and that fully falls on me as the head football coach. All things always fall on the head coach. With that said, I don't think that this season was a dead end by any means. I believe that we laid the foundation in many areas as we move forward. We suffered a double overtime loss to a team that's still playing in the FCS playoffs right now. We had 3 overtime losses. We learned a lot about a lot of our players. We had a lot of tough situations, tough games we were in that we can do nothing but grow from. And as we move forward, we're going to take those experiences that we had last year and continue to use them to help us to grow. There were 4 areas. As I sat back to finish the year, I've taken the last kind of 3 or 4 weeks to evaluate our entire program and say, how can we move into Bank Independence Stadium? How can we move into 2026 and provide the wins on the field that we need? And there were 4 areas that I'm going to talk about today, and we're really going to address one with Travis being here. But we've got to find, number one, consistency offensively, which is also going to lead to getting more consistency out of the quarterback position. Since I've been here, we've rotated too many quarterbacks because of injury, because of whatever reason. And I think our fans, I think our players, I think everybody at UNA understands now, coming off the season we just did, that everybody here believes in Destin Wade. And after the last game of the year with John Austin Wood delivering a great performance against a ranked team in Southern Utah, we believe in John Austin Wood. So we've got 2 quarterbacks that we're going into this upcoming season with that we feel really good and confident with. The next thing with that offensive piece there, for 3 years I have juggled being head coach and offensive play caller. The first season and the third seasons, I did not coach the quarterbacks. In that second season, I did coach quarterbacks. And what I learned is the year that the play caller coached the quarterbacks, we probably had our most successful season. You look back at T.J. Smith's year that he had last year, was probably our most successful season we had. So I knew that the play caller had to directly affect the quarterback on an everyday basis. So I'm announcing today that we're bringing in Travis Partridge. We've hired Travis to be our offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, and I am stepping away from offensive play calling and fully handing over the reins of the offense to Travis. I have full trust and belief in him. He comes as an FBS coordinator, was at Bowling Green last year, has had multiple successful offenses at the FCS level with UT Martin and Tennessee State, was a quarterback, has always coached quarterbacks. So with his ability to organize, construct an offense, and lead quarterbacks, it's going to allow me to step back and see things from more of the 30,000 feet view and be more of a general manager. As college football's kind of changed over the last few years with the portal and with all that goes on now, I think it's going to best suit our program that I oversee a little bit more. It's going to help more in recruiting. It's going to help more roster management. So just turning the offense completely over to Travis, and he's going to be here for questions later. The second area that I saw we need improvement is we had to get better at stopping the run. We play in a very, very talented, very tough conference in the United Athletic Conference. It's a big boy FCS league, and you got to stop the run in this league. We have Coach Carter has UNA grad, UNA player, has come to us and said that he's got to step back a little bit in his current role. He's still going to be involved with the program moving forward, but won't be in a everyday basis because of time restraints that he has. We've moved on from Coach Kyle Persons, did a great job for us for 3 years. We're hiring a new defensive line coach. Josh Long will be the new D-line coach. He's actually coaching, he's the assistant D-line coach at Memphis. They play tomorrow. Josh played in state at Samford and Alabama State, so he fully understands what it is to play FCS football, especially D-line at the FCS level in the state. He's helped recruit and develop the defensive line at Memphis and knows what a top-level defensive line looks like. The next area is player development. I think we've got to continue to develop the players that we do have. It's easy to just say we've got to get better players. I thought it was a historic hire for us less than a year ago to bring in Tiger Jones, the first time in UNA history that we've had a football-only strength coach. And that tells you the level of commitment this university has to our players to make that step, that our university cares about player development, performance, and long-term success. As Dr. Looney alluded to, over the last season, over the last 3 years, we're coming off the spring of 25. We had the highest team GPA in school history. The seasons of 24-25 school year, we had the highest APR rate in school history. So our players are excelling off the field. Our players are also averaging about 10 hours of community service. So we're seeing the off-the-field success. But like Dr. Looney said, it's time to see on-the-field success, and we know that as a program. The last area, the fourth area of improvement that we've got to do, we've got to hit home runs in recruiting. We've got to understand that our transfers, our junior college players that we bring in have to make an impact right now. That does not take away from our high school recruiting. We've got to still bring in 13 to 15 high school kids every year, and we've got to develop a talent pool with high school. But our transfers we bring in have to be home runs. They have to impact us right now. And we are seeing now with an actual stadium on campus, with Bank Independent going to be opening up this upcoming season, and the commitment that the university has given us in scholarship budget and NIL budget, which is the greatest that we've ever had, we're landing a higher caliber player right now in recruiting. We've signed 6. We've got about 10 more to go in this transfer portal junior college window that we're in right now. In this new age of college football, players win games. We all understand that. But it takes resources in order to get those players here, and it takes resources to get them to sign. And the commitment from the university right now is allowing us to do that. I'm excited about the direction we're headed as a program. I know our fans and our alumni are excited. I was going to share with you guys, I received a text about 2 weeks ago from Tyrone Rush, who's probably one of the best players in school history, probably on the Mount Rushmore of UNA athletics. I said, "Hi, Coach Dearman. I really appreciate your commitment and dedication to UNA football. You are truly a wolf who leads the pack of young wolves. God has done so many great things planned for you, and it'll only be better for you and this team. I had this warm feeling in my heart about you and had to let you know how much you mean to me and our UNA family. Wishing you the best, Tyrone Rush, 26, Roar Lions." It means so much to us as a program to have the alumni and the fans that are still behind us, even through the tough times. We have a core group of guys that we believe in, that understand the work that needs to take place with Jaheim Ingram, with Colin Wright, with Destin Wade, Tango McCulley, Ryan Walker, and so many others. It's unmatched, their hunger that they have right now. We understand we're not satisfied, but we are motivated about moving forward to give UNA fans and alumni something to be proud of. To our fans, we expect more just like you do. Thank you for sticking with us. We're committed to putting a team on the field that wins championships and plays with the relentless effort and passion that you are used to. Exciting times are ahead. Roar Lions.
Thank you, Coach Dearman. Thank you, Dr. Looney. Now we'll open it up for Q&A. We'll start with David from Times Daily. He'll ask 2 or 3, and then feel free to raise your hand, and I'll call on you for questions.
You guys mentioned, and both of you, I guess, at answering these would be great. You guys mentioned putting a product on the field that fans deserve to see. So I was kind of wondering, as you get into this new era that you talked about with the stadium and stuff, what's kind of led to the stagnation of wins, we'll call it? Has it been financial? Has it been coaching? Has it been administrative? Has it been everything? And then what does progress look like in 2026?
Well, I'd say first off on where we've been in the build and where when we hired Coach Dearman, I'm a big believer in indicators that are off field deliver a product, that the win that you're talking about is the output. That's the final thing that comes. And when you're healthy internally, and we've gotten there through record fundraising and support, that helps, right? We've gotten there through academic success. We've gotten there through our engagement. It leads to those outputs, right? And the belief in that is one of the main reasons, that we're excited about where we are in 2026. I'm a full believer that those are the indicators that lead to the ultimate output, right? And if we didn't have those indicators, wouldn't it be as excited? Transitioning a football program from Division II to FCS in a tough FCS league, and doing it with challenges at a venue and revenue generation and others, those are real, right? And I think that all of us want to see more football wins in that period of time, right? But we've seen incredible support and buy-in and alignment from our board of trustees, our community, our president, where you have the largest project in university history going up right now, right? And I know a lot of you are familiar with the challenges that we've had in revenue streams and experiences at or at Brawley Stadium, and I won't get into all of those, right? But it unlocks and opens a new door, and I think as we go through, it's a great responsibility for us from a resource wise to maximize what's about to happen here. The revenues and funding is all going to go up next year by having San Ramon. That happens, right? That's not good enough. We have to maximize each one of those. And as that stadium fills, everybody in this department eats. All right, that's men's basketball, women's basketball, tennis. That's the reality of where the importance of football, which I think you're alluding to, David, and where it can go. And so, big belief in where we're going. You can look into the on-field piece and why. I know Coach can hit on that, but from a department perspective, right, we are in a critical spot where we have great opportunity, and it's in front of us, and we have to take it. And we had a great staff that's working tirelessly in a beautiful stadium that we're going to move into, and we're excited that those are all aligned. And I think that it's going to deliver a product that our fans deserve off the field and experience, and probably a best in class that hopefully they haven't even imagined at a UNA game, right? And then obviously they're seeing the winning football program that they have imagined, they have seen. It's just been in a different era for us.
For me, I've always been a take blame for everything myself. I'm never going to blame anything else. I'm never going to look for a blame. I've got to be better as far as on-field wins. You look at all the close games that we've had. You look at all the halftime leads that we've had. We've blown all the overtime losses. The head football coach has got to be better preparing the players. Got to be better recruiting. Got to be better on my coaching staff. But it fully falls on me, and that's where I think some of the areas that we've addressed here of making changes within the program is going to lead us to more wins on the football field.
What do you guys consider progress for next year? Like, is there any like tangible benchmarks or goals that hey, we need to hit X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, we need to make that bank this bank. I mean, that's reality, right? We need to fill a seat, have a great product, and make it a tough place to play, where we're winning. CVS Bank Arena is the best venue in the ASUN. Had the nation's 5th longest win streak here, right? That stuff is what this community is capable of. Right now, not in 5 years and this. I mean, that's happening right now. We're at a spot where we just won the men's all sports trophy in our 3rd year of existence as a full Division I member. We've flipped multiple programs. We've been in multiple title games in men's basketball, where you guys know all the stuff. I don't know, maybe 1 or other 2 in the last 5 years have been to multiple. We're one of 2 ASUN teams to beat being an SEC team in the last 3 or 4 years in basketball, right? We've got tennis pros. All those things are happening, right? That's here at UNA. And, yeah, the expectation is that football is the big one. Again, there's a reason that's the biggest project in UNA history, and we've got to deliver a great experience that continues to elevate all the awesome things that are happening here at UNA and ultimately on the field as well.
I mean, we came here to win championships. That's what UNA football is about, is winning championships. So competing for the United Athletic Championship, making it to the FCS playoffs, I mean, that's what we're here for.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, Brett, for you, what does it mean to hear Josh have your back like this after a few tough seasons in a row? What does it mean for you to have to have the administration have your back?
Oh, it means the world to me. I mean, Josh, to President Kitts, to the board, I mean, Josh probably comes and hangs out in my office about once or twice a week, and I've had a better relationship with my AD here than I've had in 18 years of coaching. You talk about not just a great boss, but a great person. But it means the world to me. It means the world to our staff, it means the world to our families. Like I said, it's unmatched. You don't find it many places. And then just a short story here. My wife takes my kids to meet Santa Claus at the president's house 2 weeks ago, or however long it goes, and to have the president and his wife hug my wife and say, "We're behind you." I mean, that means so much to our staff and our players to have the backing of the administration here.
What word would you, to Sandy Brown, what word would you describe now what that feeling is like for you, knowing they have your back that you need to have down their back too?
Oh, absolutely. We know we got to produce. I mean, we understand that they went on a limb for us, and we've always worked hard. I mean, but it gives you a little extra chip to go out and work even harder. I mean, we've got to find these 10 players I was just talking to you about. We've got to finish this high school recruiting class. It just gives you a little bit extra to say they're behind us. Now we got to go out and we got to do our job and produce.
All right, we'll go ahead and throw it to Ben. Oh, AJ, go ahead.
Brent, stepping back from offensive play calling duties, did you find that something you had to do? You had to be more of a CEO as a head coach?
I don't think he had to do it. Dr. Looney kind of questioned me a little bit if that's really what I wanted to do as well. So it's not something anybody forced upon me. But as I bounced some things around, some old bosses of mine, I called Coach Malzahn, I called Chip Lindsey, I called a bunch of guys that I'm really close to, and just to ask opinions. And a lot of them were saying the same thing of how college football is changing. It's harder and harder to be head coach, play caller, because you got to do so much managing that you didn't have to used to do. With NIL, with rev share, with transfer portal, there's so many new things in the last 4 years, 3-4 years in college football. And I thought bringing in something new flavor every now and then rejuvenates things. And like I said, I fully trust Travis. It's going to be probably harder on me to sit on my hands when it comes to offense a little bit more now. But I trust our offense. I mean, this is one of the best offensive staffs I've ever been around. I trust those guys fully, but it's just going to help me manage a little bit better.
Josiah, go ahead.
Hey, Brent, just with these other guys you're going after in the portal, what are you exactly looking for?
It's about every position. We had 2 senior running backs, so we got to replace the production in the running back room. We had 3 senior receivers, so we're looking at bringing in a couple of receivers. We had a senior tight end in Caleb Headley that played a lot of football here, so going after a tight end. I think our offensive line is probably the most improved position that we've had since I've been here. That we have really got that room better, but you always take big bodies. You never turn a big body down. D-line, we had a lot of senior production in that room. And defensive back, we had 3 seniors in the defensive backfield. So we're really looking at all areas to bring guys in. We had an All-American FCS punter that's going in the portal that's trying to play at a higher level. So in every room on our football team, we're trying to bring in somebody.
Are you prioritizing guys who have multiple years of eligibility or who have experience or a mix of both? Or?
You got to find a good mix. I think we're kind of learning. We're learning ourselves as we go through this thing. Where early on we probably prioritize bringing guys down from a higher level, bringing Division I guys down, and that hadn't always worked out for us. Right now we're spinning our wheels a lot on D2 players that have played a lot of football. There's value in reps, and you look at a Division II receiver that's got 1,600 snaps in his college career. He's a high priority right now because it's hard to come and get snaps. And then the next portal opens on January 2nd for Division I kids. So I'd like to get probably half of our class with D2 and junior college players, and then we'll probably get the other half of the class with Division I drop-down transfers. So, but I think there's value in both.
This is a question for Max Cohen, for Dr. Mooney. What does a successful first year at Macon Independent Stadium look like?
Yeah, I think we've hit on a bit, delivering a best-in-class experience across, all aspects where people in the Shoals walk into something they haven't seen before, right? And our ability to invest in a place that's our own, not have to flip a high school facility starting at 6 a.m. the day of the game to make it look like it's UNA, and really invest in all things around that experience. It should be a noticeable difference, but it has to be something that people walk in and say, wow. And that's the administration's job off the field, right? And then on the field, it is taking that progress and delivering that product. And I think that BI Stadium it's unbelievable. And when you look at whether things are happening here, right? How many places you say that there's a new baseball stadium built from the ground up, football and soccer stadium built from the ground up, a practice facility and a track didn't exist. It was an old youth baseball field, right, up until a year and a half ago. A softball field started. Some great, incredible things are happening, and we know that football is the driver of community attention and everything, and I think that our ability to make that a great game day experience will only elevate everything else that's going on that's great at this institution.
And then also for Max, for Coach Dearman, what do you view as some of the biggest issues over the last 3 seasons, and how do you plan to kind of address some of this moving forward?
I think we've had some inconsistency with either injuries causing inconsistency. We've had an inability to win in close games where we've lost too many close games, hold on to leads, not being able to finish when games that you do have leads. We've missed too often in recruiting where we invest a lot of time and energy into guys that wasn't able to come in and contribute as much as we wanted them to. I think we could be better as coaching staff. I think we're putting guys in situations and asking them to do things that they may not be the best at. So I think it's just all around. There's ways that we've got to improve as a coaching staff to get the wins that we want on the field.
Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you, Coach B. The identification of quarterback, how has that process, would you say, for you has evolved since you got to UNA?
I think we inherited a really good quarterback when we first got here. and he moved on and went another direction. I think we put a lot of hope in others and just didn't see the production out of it. And where we're at now is, I think Destin Wade showed our fans and showed UNA what he can be. I think his last game he played was the highest graded. I don't go off of PFF grades much, but it's the highest graded quarter of a UNA quarterback since I've been here. When we played West Georgia and we scored 17, scored in our first 3 drives. I go back to our first home game. I think we scored the first 8 drives of the game with Destin Wade at quarterback. So this is This is the first time of us as a complete program going into an off season of knowing we have the guy with Destin Wade. So we're really excited about where we're moving forward now.
For Dr. J. Not just going all in on a stadium, but for bringing in the luxury stuff, to bring in a jumbotron of that size, FBS level like you mentioned there. What are you hoping that messages to fans in terms of the buy-in that you guys have to this program?
Yeah, I think over the past 4, 5, 6, 7 years, we've continued to feed our football program, right? And it's been a process, and here's reality, right? At UNA, across the board, I'm talking the Department of English to the football program. You've got to do it better than anybody else, right? You have to be efficient. It's just the way it is. We're not going to be the largest university budget, right? And we're not going to be the largest athletic budget. You've got to do it the best, right? And I think that stadium is reality, where it's not 50 years of talk, it's action within this period. How many places are building a stadium from the ground up right now? Very few. I think South Florida's building one. How many FCS schools have built one from the ground up over the last decade? I don't know, right? Abilene has, South Dakota State. There may be 1 or 2 others. This stuff doesn't just happen. It's a generational project, and there's a reason it probably took 50 years for it to happen, since it was in the 1974 media guide. There's a sheet. UNA announces on-campus stadium, and so I think we'll continue to feed our university, our athletic department, our football program, right? And that is a huge piece. It's a massive piece to it. We have to do it right. We have to be part of it. And when that's built, just like when you announce you go Division I and the transition's over, so no, it's not time to take a break. The next 4 years are just important, if not more important than the previous 4, right? When that thing's built, the seasons that come into it, not just 2026, are so important for us to capitalize, right? And we have to do it right, and we have to do it better than everybody else, and we have to be efficient.
Back to David.
Brent, you talked about conversations that you had with Alvon and Lindsay and stuff like that. Could you about play calling duties and stuff like that? Could you go into a little bit more detail about the conversations you had with Josh about kind of switching up those roles, and if it'll be more your offense that he's calling, more his offense that he's calling, or kind of a combination?
Well, the conversation I had with Josh when I first brought it up to him, he just wanted to make sure that I was doing what I thought was best. He never once gave what he thinks I should do. He just knew that I've always been an offensive play caller. That's really what has got me to where I am now, is being an offensive play caller. So it wasn't him ever doubting or anything. He just wanted to make sure that I was all in for whatever direction I wanted to go there. The second part, again, was
Whether or not it'd be your offense.
Oh, it's completely Travis Partridge's offense. I am from terminology to whatever it calls. They've already actually started doing some offensive staff meetings, and I hadn't even been involved. They've asked me to come in, and I've purposely not went in. I don't want anyone in that room to even think that it's my offense. So it's completely Travis's. If he's got a question, I will give him my opinion, but I'm never going to put my 2 cents into many things unless I see there's a problem with it. So it's completely Travis, and I fully believe in what he's doing. Not yet. Well, it's December. It's a long time away from us actually running a play. Right now, I'm in recruiting meetings all day long. So I actually messed with him the other day, and I said, the better players we get, these plays look better. So that's what I'm working on right now.
And then, Josh, I do want to ask you this too, because Brent highlighted that the university's commitment to NIL stuff and stuff like that. Can you kind of talk about a little bit about that commitment? What it was,
Yeah, and we've seen record support externally, right? In all areas, of course, the stadium's a big piece of that. That doesn't happen with it, but within all our programs, and NIL's a big piece that is elevated, and we were one of the first on the scene in the ASUN 2 years ago to launch a third-party collective. We've since moved that in-house and through our foundation, so now our fans are able to give tax-deductible gifts for that. Allows us to project revenue sources, both future and current, to allocate those differently, where prior when it was a third-party group, you had a third-party organization that delivered the NIL, but it was also non-tax deductible, and it had to be funds that were truly outside your department. Now you're able to take a look at your operations externally and dedicate revenue, and it's something we've prioritized as a department, and certainly external, and all our staff that is out doing their fundraising, it's prioritized as well. But I think the big thing for me is that each and every year that I'm here, that we elevate each one of our programs, and football's been a priority, right? And you mentioned staffing, and all of that is elevated significantly over the last 5 years, and it's not going to stop when we have a new stadium. We're going to continue to allocate those resources. I do think college sports has changed as you look at your external revenues and how you allocate those. And our counterparts, that's the tough part. You'd be the first on the scene at our level in a mid-major to start a collective. It gets you a jump up. Well, now with the House settlement, the other schools in the UAC and ASUN that didn't have a collective, they can do the same thing, right? I think the other thing is, though, it's how good do you do it, and how much of the external funds are you bringing in, and so it's definitely been a priority for us. And I know Brent has more tools than he's ever had to recruit this cycle as we go in a new stadium.
Are we talking about like growing it by like a certain percentage each year, like 3%, 5%, 10%? I don't know.
Yeah.
What those numbers look like for that.
Yeah. I think that I'm not going to speak on the definitive numbers, but I would tell you that our goal is to have significant jumps across the board with the fundraising. I mean, our fundraising whole has gone from, what was usually 2.5 to 3.5 million as an entire department, has jumped up more than double that most years, right, over the last few years. And in some years, it jumped all the way up to in the 19 to 20, right? They also have a stadium piece of that. And so I think from the NIL side of it, I think we'll be more than double in the giving that we had a year ago for this upcoming year. And a year ago, in another sport that we won a regular season title, right? And so we'll continue to elevate that, and I'm just appreciative to our fans and business owners and local folks that are invested in this and allowing us that.
Double, is that for the entirety, just for football, or?
Both, yeah, that's right.
This is from Carl Prater, the coach. Going back to the OC, one, what makes this hire a great fit for the program, and take us through kind of what went into finding the right fit for you.
I talked to probably 10, 15 guys that I got their names through other people in the business, or had worked with them previously, or just researched and knew about them. I wanted somebody to be a good fit for our staff and our players. I wanted somebody that could connect well. I needed somebody that could coach quarterbacks at an elite level, that could connect with those guys as a play caller too. And me and Travis were together for a year and a half at Kansas, and I got to see how hard of a worker he was. I got to see how smart he was. He was the guy that would stay till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, just picking coaches' brains on the whiteboard. He wanted to talk ball all the time. And being a former quarterback himself, he's from his quarterback that he had at Tennessee State, he got the very most out of, was an elite player there. He did a really good job coaching quarterbacks at UT Martin. So his quarterback development is really what pushed him over the edge, to be honest with you. I think he from coming to practice, he'll probably outthrow me as a former quarterback himself. But his work ethic and his ability to connect and develop quarterbacks is what separated him.
Two more from Max, both for Dr. Linney. Can you walk us through the decision to bring Brent back this year?
Yeah, I think we've covered some of it. you know, already, but I'll say this: we're in an emotional fire and mall culture in athletics across this country. I mean, that's a reality, and it's an emotional game. And I'm an emotional AD, right? Former linebacker. There was times this year my staff laughs at me. I had to put myself in the press box, right? Because I knew it was getting a little too much on the sideline. I think Anna one time said, "Josh, you were out at the numbers," and I said I was being nice. I actually was. It was dealing with the logistical issue, but that's you know, I'm competitive, right? And I think that's an important piece. But you know, accountability has to be part of an organization. Don't get me wrong, but organizational success is also not making emotional decisions that aren't going to guarantee progress. And for the things I've outlined, I mean, we have a lot of internal indicators, and you have to go back to what was the state of the program when I committed, and multiple year progress and commitment to Brent Dearman. And as he delivered on all those, yes, with the exception of the wins on the field have not been where either one of us has wanted. So then you go and you say, okay, are those indicators pointing the right way? If it's no, you probably have some problems. It's a yes, okay. Do you have belief that he's the right guy for the job? Yes. Do we have support from our community that is visible, from NIL support to people coming to games? Yes. Right? Okay. Does making a change in your coach, does that guarantee success on the field? I'm going to bet on Brent Dearman, right? And I'm excited to be part of this, and we are a much healthier football program in 2025 than we were in 2023, right? I just know the external piece is the one that everybody sees, and that's the one that we've got to get elevated.
And then the last one for Max, and you've elaborated a little bit on this, but just again, how important is it for the university to see success in football?
Yeah, I think I'll go back to football success. Everybody eats. I was talking with a donor, two donors over the Thanksgiving break. One that is engaged with our men's and women's tennis programs, which you know, men are defending champions and women were one away, right? Another program that's flipped here. And thanks to donor support, and we got indoor courts and those things. I was talking to a donor with men's basketball. So those are two championship programs from last year. And these are non-football donors, right? But they're invested and they come to games. They say, what's the – we're talking about all the things we're doing in those programs. And so what's the next big step for these programs outside of more giving and getting our circle? I said, honestly, you know what, the best thing that can move men's and women's tennis forward and men's and women's basketball forward is filling that stadium. I mean, that's the reality of the revenues and finances that football brings, even at the FCS level, and particularly when you've had no parking, you've had no premium space, you've had no concessions, all those things we haven't had, right? And so the importance of football, importance of making it the same, it's big. It's much bigger than football. It is a critical piece to this department, and we've got an unbelievable commitment and resource that's being built that we have to maximize, and that's my job.
Go ahead.
Question, sort of big picture, it's for both of you. As the UAC transitions from single sport to all sport,
Yep.
How do you see that affecting UNA at the university and team level?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different things, right? You probably figure out what the competitive trade-off you're going basically Florida for Texas. Again, we've talked. I love that we're aligned with our football institutions. You know, what the changes are. We're going through it right now. I got the great honor of being elected the chair of the inaugural UAC ADs. So we were arguing on women's soccer schedules yesterday. You know, how many baseball series we have, and what do those balances look like? And so I think the cool thing about the UAC for all sports, it's literally being developed. But we've got a great group of institutions that are all growing, all thriving, all competitive as heck, that are together, which is a good thing, and all that have football really value it. And I would tell you from being on the FCS selection committee and seeing a national FCS landscape. What's happened in the UAC in a short amount of time is incredible, right? And it's also going to continue to put the foot on the gas pedal and challenge us, not only in football to keep raising the bar, but in every sport. It's an elevated league that consortium that we're entering, as our commissioner Jeff Bacon would say.
Got a few
I
more
mean-
minutes if anybody. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
I mean, for me, it in a 3-year time span this league's been put together, you're looking at quite possibly the second best FCS league right now. Having 2 teams that made it into the playoffs, Tarleton making a deep run, having 2 teams that was the first 4 out with Southern Utah and Austin Peay. It's a very, very competitive league. It's a league that you have to bring it every single week. It reminds me as a kid growing up, the SEC West was that kind of league. There's not a bye week, there's not an off week, and everybody is investing. Just so you got to understand that you're in a very solid league, and for us, it's helping us in recruiting. But you better land your recruits because everybody else is as well. So the league's not changing for me. It's still the same league for me. We just don't have to make a Utah trip anymore, which is exciting. But it's one of the best FCS conferences in all FCS football.
This league in football is really interesting, right? The margins are thin, and we've talked a lot of non-conference scheduling as an athletic group because our league's going to beat each other up, right? Look at Austin Peay, one of the first ones out, right? They dropped games to Southern Utah and to Eastern Kentucky, but they're on the brink of beating a Tarleton, right? Abilene, beats a Tarleton and then and has some losses, right? We're the bottom of our league this year. Reality. There's 4 teams playing in FCS football, and we missed an extra point on the road in double OT against one of them, right? So that's what makes it challenging, though, right? There's the margins are so slim in this league, and we know that across the board, somebody's jumping on somebody every week, and so you have to be strategic in our non-conference scheduling as a group. I think that's going to bleed over to our other sports. To your previous question, where there's not a huge separator of 12 teams, and these 4 we know are in this particular sport are struggling, and I think the UAC is going to be competitive top to bottom in every sport.
Got a couple more minutes if anybody else wants to ask a question. All right. Anything else from you guys?
Merry Christmas. We're Lions.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Media, would you prefer Travis without the table, just scrum style, or sitting at the table? What would y'all prefer? You want to just come to the table?
I'll move my chair.
On you, Trav.
How's it going, guys? Good.
Trav, you want to start? Do you want to make a statement?
Yeah, no, the statements. So I'm a coach's kid. I'm a coach who's raised by a coach who's raised by a coach. So this is, the interesting part of being here is. So I grew up. My dad was the head coach of Missouri Western for 20 years, and that time the D2 playoffs goes through Florence, goes through Florence, goes through Florence, get to Florence, get to Florence, get to Florence, and so I have a unique perspective here because when I was growing up, every team wanted to beat in Florence, and I'm just honored to be here. I know the program. I've lost the game at Braley. I was at Delta State. I've won a game at Braley. When I was at UT Martin, I was a war that day. North Alabama football, the program itself has always kind of held a spot. I've always kind of known about it, and this opportunity, first off, believing in your head football coach it's a major reason why you choose jobs. And I think, being with Coach Dearman and seeing the kind of person he was, the coach he was, the juice he brought in a really, really tough situation at the University of Kansas, with going through COVID and all the challenges there. Yeah, COVID, that was a wild time. But seeing how he dealt with adversity tells me and tells our staff and tells everybody that he's built for this, and I'm just a Brent I'm a believer. That's why I'm here. So, you know, as far as a statement, I didn't prepare anything, but I'm just kind of flying off the seat of my pants here. But I'm just happy to be here. You know, through the players, the margin of error and the difference between a 10-game winner and a 2-game winner is so slim. And you are a player or play a decision away from an unbelievable season. And I'm just ready to get in the foxhole and work with these guys of a great product and a great staff already built here. I'm just ready to get in the foxhole and work.
All right. Questions,
good?
media? You did great, man.
Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'm just trying to be like you, man.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah.
Tell us how you ultimately ended up here. I guess what was that process like of just interviewing and taking this spot?
Yeah, no. So Coach Dearman said he talked about 15 guys. He didn't tell me that. Okay, I would have probably been a little bit more nervous. No. So you know the experience at Bowling Green last year. You know when I'm sitting there in Bowling Green, Ohio, it's cold. It's cold, and I'm looking at my wife who's 8 months pregnant, and she can't wait to get here. By the way, she's an Iowa girl, so she deals with the cold a little bit better. But get down here. Coach Dearman called me and had an opportunity, wanted to talk to me about, and one of the first questions I asked Coach Dearman is, hey, what is your vision with this? You know, because first, you know, as a young coach when I was at Kansas, you know, he asked about me bugging him and talking ball with him. I probably bugged him a little too much, but a lot of the foundational stuff that I developed as a young coordinator was from Coach Dearman. You know, the organization of it, you know, how you organize a staff, how you organize a practice, how you organize different things. He's going to laugh. We're going to go, you know, we haven't, you know, really sat down and gone through all practice schedule stuff, but I'm going to pull out paper that I stole directly from Brent Dearman. We haven't got there yet, but hopefully he doesn't get me for plagiarizing. But I think that, you know, the alignment from a president to the AD to the head coach to the corner, you know, ultimately that's the most important thing. You know what I mean, the alignment of how information travels and talking with them and you know, one of the first things he told me was a quarterback, offensive lineman. You know, there's some skill spots that are good and room for improvement, and it just made too much sense for me. You know, I didn't, you know, he offered me a job. It wasn't, am I going to take it? It's, hey, you know, Coach, when do you want me there? You know, I mean, it was a very, very quick decision for me. Like I said, I didn't know he talked to 15 other people. Probably been a little bit more nervous, but it was actually it was no-brainer decision for me.
What was the experience at Bowling Green like last year?
Challenging, very challenging. You know, I think so I'm my father's son. My dad won a bunch of games at Missouri Western, and I think as a young player and then a young coach, you get kind of lulled into this, hey, winning is easy, you know, and winning's not easy. Winning is hard, and we talk about the difference of 10 wins, the 2 wins, the 3 wins, and everything in between. It was a challenging Bowling Green. The first, you know, from a kind of was talking about with an alignment deal. You know, how's information flowing? Being a co-OC, you know, navigating the different staff dynamics of okay, who has autonomy of the offense and what decisions to be made when, game management things, and those guys up there are going to do a good job. It just wasn't the fit that I was looking for and what Coach George was looking for. So it really worked well at Tennessee State the year before, just new places, new challenges, new environments. But you know, it ended up, it ended there at the end of the year, and I knew I was looking for, you know, very specific things. Anytime an opportunity doesn't work out for whatever reason, it sounds like a cliche, but it's an opportunity to learn. You know, it's an opportunity to, okay, what is important to me? What's important to me, my wife, you know, the communities, the players, the environments, and every chance you get to learn from opportunities and get a new one, that's a blessing. Learned a bunch. You know, half of learning is what not to do. You know, there's things that worked, there's things that didn't, and you have to take each opportunity, each decision you make, and grow and learn and attack. You know, I don't shy away from any challenge or any struggle, because it is an opportunity to grow from it.
What is
Well, just kind of what I was talking about with alignment. You know, if I am a black and white thinker, you know, I was raised by a coach. I talked about that, and then my grandpa was a coach, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, but most of the women in the Partridge side of the family are all teachers. So I never had really good cop, bad cop growing up. I had bad cop, bad cop. So, you know, the way we communicate and the way we think is kind of dictated by your environments. And I love the way Coach Dearman communicates because he's not gray. That makes sense. And so when we started communicating about this opportunity, he was very upfront with expectations, the job responsibilities, everything that aligns with, you know, moving through the job markets. And like I said, it just, like, I'm so excited to be here because of, first off, the amount of belief I have in Coach Dearman and the amount of belief I have in the history of North Alabama football. You know, I'm a D2 kid, and growing up, that they were the standard, you know, and like I said, it was always, don't quote me, but the song, there's something about getting to Florence, I don't know. But they always play that at practice. And it was all about getting to Florence, and now that I'm here, it's kind of exciting. It's a little bit surreal that it worked out, and I'm here.
Was having the play calling responsibility and having control of the offense and designing the offense, was that important to you for the next step?
Well, you know, the design, you know, one of the first things Coach Dearman said is, you know, it's going to be your show, and that's awesome. And him having the faith in me is awesome. But also, it's a we thing. You know, we had our first offensive staff meeting a couple days ago, and I was like, guys, I don't have all the answers. You know, so it's a we foxhole mentality from a program anyway. You know, I have a great relationship with Coach Caraboa. You know, I was with him at Kansas too, and Coach Caraboa isn't going to make offensive decisions. But guess what? I'm gonna ask Brock's opinion, and I hope that we have the relationship that he asks my opinion about different things and the alignments and all the different things that it takes to win. You know, to answer your question, it was important to me, but it was also being important to me at the right place. There's a difference between just taking a job and being in the wrong environment, and I was going to do my absolute best to avoid that. You know what I mean? Being around the right people is the most important thing. It's a people business. It's a relationship business. Yes, there's all kinds of numbers, and now the college football landscape is so business related, but it's still a relationship business, still a people business, and the people here are awesome.
Nick Kuzma, Fox 64.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Schematically, what does the Travis Parker offense look like?
Yeah, I would love to run the plays that work. Okay. No, I'm going to spit another coaching cliche at you. You know, I think our job in the off season, and yes, there's formations that are called this and plays that are called this, but it's my belief that anymore your job isn't to fit players into your system. Your job is to sign the very best football players you can. What do they do best? Start there, right? And I haven't had enough time. Yes, it's going to look a certain way. It's going to feel a certain way. I'll call it a certain way. But actually, the schematic of what plays we're going to be calling, I know it's my job to get the plays in our best players' hands the most, right? You know, you look at past offense I've been a part of at Tennessee State. We had a young offensive line and a quarterback and a couple good receivers, so we threw around a little bit. You know, those UT Martin teams, we had 2 All-American running backs and a really experienced offensive line. Both were very successful FCS offenses, but they might have looked different. You know, they were the exact same play calls, just steered in a different way. I think from an offensive standpoint, I probably need to get one. Like, you know, you guys like a little slogan or something. I don't have one yet. I probably need to get one. Maybe you can help me with that. You know, it's an up-tempo offense with the ability to be right, with motions and shifts, and ultimately it's about generating explosive plays. There's no secret to college football. Hey, who's the best offense? Well, how many explosives they have. Because it is hard to go 14, 15, 16 plays every drive. Will we have to do that to win championships? Oh, yeah. And we have to have the ability to do that. But the ability to have some balance, you know, from a schematic standpoint, that's the goal. right? If you're on a deserted island, you can run 100 plays. You want 50 of them to be run, 50 of them to be passed. We all know that's not the reality. You know, there's some games we're going to run the football really well. There's some games we're going to throw it around a little bit. But ultimately, it's just about getting the best football players, your best football players, in the spots that they can be the most successful. I know that's a super cliche answer, and I apologize for that. Maybe you can work on giving me a slogan or something. But that's ultimately my goal.
One more. Your last two stops, I think they just kind of stand out. Obviously, Tennessee State.
Yeah.
HBCU plays at the Titan Stadium. Tough play. Just transitioned out of HBCU conference. So it's the Big South OVC. You guys got to the playoffs. That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
In that situation, Bowling Green. I mean, that's a league that MAC is just. I mean, you know, repeating to holler at each other. What do you bring from those last two experiences, specifically your Florence?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more than anything, you kind of, as a coordinator, you figure out what's important to you. And kind of what I was talking about, the learning experience, what I was talking with you about, is it's players, not plays, you know, and it is the environments of what does it take to be successful that year or that week, and having the flexibility and the balance to accomplish those things, right? I can't sit here and tell you that we're going to throw it for 4,000 yards. I can't sit here and tell you we'll run for 4,000 yards. My goal is not a statistical thing. You know, the goal is to win football games, right? And at Tennessee State, you know, the challenges there. Actually, interesting enough, the last two offensive coordinator jobs I got a week before spring ball. For whatever reason, I didn't sign up for it, but I got them a week before spring ball. So I'm super excited to be able to sit with the staff and learn and hey, the staff's full of unbelievable people. How do you teach this route? How do you teach this backfield action? You know, talk me through your offensive line steps and because if there's a way that they've done it better than what I've done it, guess what? It's our idea now. And I'm excited to go through that process with those guys. I think honestly, what you were asking about what you learned the most from those steps is you know, as smart as you think, I'm a confident human being. But as smart as I think I am, I don't know it all. And if there's a way that can fit and piece together a different way to coach it, that's important that you listen to and go forth from. You know, so that's what I'm most excited about. And honestly, that's the learning experience of what really worked at Tennessee State, and then what the challenges were at Bowling Green. Of what's the landscape, how you fit it, the timing of it all, what people you're recruiting, who's already on your team, and the challenges there for it. You know. So that was really the big difference, as you put it out of, an underfunded resource program at Tennessee State, and then you get you go to a MAC school, and the landscape's different, the community's different, the financial stuff is different, but it's your job to go put a good offense out there, and learning from mistakes and learning from challenges it means a lot to me. But I'm going to put you, if you got a slogan for me after you watch practice, okay, I don't know. I'm not going to get there. My dad, if I call my offensive slogan, my dad would not let me live that down. Okay, so it has to be really good for us to go with it, right?
We'll go back to David from Times Daily.
How have those early meetings or interactions with the players been?
Awesome. So when I just got hired this week, so the players they're gone on Christmas break. But meeting with the staff is the first thing we've been doing. And first off, I'll start with Coach Schurig. So Coach Schurig, ironically enough, my dad coached against him, I think, 15 times. And I actually played quarterback against Coach Schurig 4 times. I'm not going to get into any Griffin, Ichabod, what my record was there for Dr. Looney, but but having a respect factor from there, and one of the first things I did when I took this job was call Coach Schurig and, hey, tell me what you think. Tell me the challenges. Tell me the good, the bad, all of it. And Coach Schurig just raved about the staff, about the university, about the town. It just made me feel really, really confident coming in. And he knows more football. He's forgotten more football than I know, and I can't wait to be able to lean on him from just the staff dynamics and game management and all the different things that he's had to do in his career. Then you look at Coach Johnson, Mike Johnson. He's He's an intimidating presence, and I think he's going to bring that toughness to that running back room that we need. And he's a dude, man. He's a stud. I can't wait. He is happy every day being able to work here and what the logo means to him. Coach May, from just a receiver fundamental standpoint, I've been so impressed just in 1 week. Coach Thomas, he speaks the language. We talk the same language, and that sometimes is hard. From being a quarterback guy to O-line guy, usually there's I'm speaking French and they're speaking Chinese, and we can try to figure it out. But no, we speak the same language, and we've hit it off right away. So, some of the things that you worry about taking a new job, I don't have those things. One of the first things that I looked up is the roster. Normally, when you first get a job, okay, you sit down, you look at the roster, and you say, okay, what do we need to sign in the transfer portal? What do we need to sign high school spot-wise? What do you need to – normally, everywhere else I've been is, hey, we need quarterbacks, you need quarterback depth, and you need offensive linemen. Well, that's our two strengths. Our O-line depth, our O-linemen coming back, the leadership, and then our quarterback room. And that's a phenomenal problem, guys. That's a big deal. And then you go, find, a couple more playmakers here or there. But that's much easier than rebuilding a quarterback room and offensive line room, and that's exciting for me. So I've talked with the quarterbacks. I've been calling, the leaders on the offense, and it's just refreshing how much they want to win. And they're not asking questions about how much we can do for them. They're asking questions of, hey, Coach, what do you need from me for us to go? And that's, when you have that culture of want to, and they're just ready to get in the fight, so we fight. And I can't wait to fight with them.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach. Welcome to UNA.
Thank you. So I need that slogan on my